episode 142.
And I don't think I could have generated the readership at Motor, nor the repeat business at the seminars and the familiarity with the technicians without bringing that hands-on experience to the classes, to my articles, and to my public presentations.
Welcome, aftermarketers, to On Point from Remarkable Results Radio, and a special interview from an auto care industry professional. On Point. Hello, aftermarketers throughout North America and around the world. Carm Capriato here, and thank you for listening to Remarkable Results Radio that reaches a worldwide audience through Apple iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, and Spreaker, and through the Remarkable Results Radio website. And welcome to episode 142 with Dan Marinucci, technical trainer and automotive author. This episode is brought to you by Federal Mogul Motor Parts and Garage Gurus. For serious technical training and support, online, on-site, and on demand, Garage Gurus is everything you need to know. Find out more at fmgaragegurus.com. Hey, do you know why you listen to the podcast? I would like to think that it's because you get extraordinary content that embodies wisdom and expertise from successful service professionals and industry thought leaders. Understanding your colleagues' achievements will help you grow your business, and my guests pay it forward for you so you can spot trends through their insights in a format that puts the emotions to words. Just think, if you can get just one spark of a creative idea per week from the podcast, imagine how you can generate substantial change and grow your business. Now listen to Dan Marinucci from Communique, technician, trainer, and author. Dan's been practicing his craft for over 40 years, as an automotive technical writer for 27 years, and as an automotive technical trainer for 23. He writes for Motor in his column called Foreign Service, and you've also read Dan in Crane's Tire Business magazine. The show notes cover all of Dan's experience and bio. Find them at remarkableresults.biz/E142. Dan has brought his training to 38 states, Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. And we talk about training and take the fork in the road when I asked him what he sees that's going on at the service counter when he's at a shop doing his article prep work or supporting technical problems. Dan gives us his observations of the consumer and the service advisor interactions. You'll like that. We cover a lot of ground in this interview, from the tech shortage storyline to getting involved in automotive education to who pays for training, and to guerrilla marketing your shop. Dan is extremely passionate about our industry, and it shows. Now here we go with Dan Marinucci from Communique. Nice to be with Dan Marinucci from Communique. Hey Dan, are you ready to go on point?
You betcha, Carm. How are you today?
Man, I am great. In my former life, you used to do some training for my company, and boy, people always requested you. I think in our pre-call you were telling me that you've been at this 40 some years.
I've been doing automotive technical writing for 40 years. In fact, it was my 40th year this past January. And then the technical training I've been doing more than 23 years.
Wow. Okay. Communique, such an interesting name for a company. Can you give me a minute on that?
Communique, Carm, when my wife and I started the company, I was doing technical writing, a lot of ghost writing for aftermarket companies, press releases, tech stories, all sorts of stuff, as well as writing for Motor Magazine and for Tire Business Magazine. But we decided that since we did communications in general, the concept of communique was an important message that came over the wire.
Got it. I love it. Great answer and great concept. So you ghost wrote for authors I know of, or technical books?
A variety of aftermarket manufacturers, some OEMs as well.
Excellent. Well, 40 years of being out there doing this in all different various types of jobs, if you will, in the industry. Which one of them have you just loved the most?
I liked all of them, Carm. All of them were learning experiences. 40 years I'm doing technical writing for the trade press, for trade journals such as Motor, and for tire business. Motor goes to all sorts of professional auto repair facilities. Tire business, of course, focuses on the tire auto centers. I love the writing. I love the interviewing. I love being among the people. I sold diagnostic equipment for 3 years, and although that was brutally difficult, the learning experience was incredible.
Yeah.
My dad was a career salesman. He said, Dan, there's nothing like sales. There's nothing like the selling experience. There's no university like it. Try it. And I did it for 3 years, and I hated it and loved it at the same time. Very difficult, but it also taught me a great deal. And what's amazing now is that what I observed those 3 years, 83 to 86, I'm still using today. I'm still using today. And so many of the issues I saw firsthand in shops are still prevalent. The tech training, 23 years of tech training. I do tech training in 23 states across Canada, Alaska, Hawaii. And that's reinforced what I saw those 3 years selling shop equipment. Listen to the technicians' cares and worries. And I've loved them all because I've learned.
So you had told me, Carm, I'm just a reporter, and I get what you're saying based on your great bio. And great reporters usually go out there and they look around, they research, they get in the weeds if they were going to tell a great story. And I know that you spend a ton of time in shops, getting your hands dirty, sweating in the heat in the 90-degree summers. Has it been the greatest, value that you can bring to your reader?
No question. The hands-on experience, Carm, has been invaluable, and I don't think I could have generated the readership at Motor, nor the repeat business at the seminars and the familiarity with the technicians without bringing that hands-on experience to the classes, to my articles, and to my public presentations. The in-shop experience has been second to none, indeed.
Latest article I've got here from Motor from July, foreign service. So is it basically a foreign perspective that you take with Motor?
Yeah. In 1989, they started a column dedicated to foreign car repair and called it Foreign Service. I knew the then editor of Motor Magazine, Wade Hoyt, and Wade contacted me and said, Dan, we're starting this new column. Would you like to write it? Oh, what's it called? Foreign Service on import car repair. Hey, I'm in. Well, little did I know, that's now 27 years writing Foreign Service every month. So, yeah, the focus is foreign car repair.
Okay, so you're out, you're training, you're at conferences. I'm sure you've been to the occasional show in our industry. Are you a celebrity?
Oh, if some people want to believe that.
Wait a minute. I think, look at, there's Dan Marinucci. I read his column all the time. I've got to go up and say hi to him. Does that happen?
Oh, indeed. In fact, I will. May I brag for one moment?
You got it.
All right. I've had countless people ask me to autograph their hats, their notebooks. More than anything, they've asked me to autograph Motor Magazine, autograph my column for them.
That's not bragging, man. That's it's all your hard work came to play out. Well, I'm happy for you. I'm talking to Bud Houston, a technical product specialist with Federal Mogul Motor Parts. Do you actually put products in the hands of the technicians?
Yes, absolutely. Anytime there's new product introduced, perhaps a new problem solver or a new technology, we keep that stuff on the van just because their local parts supplier may not have it available, and we think it's important to show them what's coming, and then seeing the part is really, especially with the new OEX, seeing the part and touching the part is something that changes perspective rather than just a piece of paper with a picture of the part.
Okay, so you put an OEX pad into the hand of a technician, and you've done this, I'm sure, hundreds of times. What do you see on their face when they see it?
You can tell they get it. In our industry, there's technology that we use all the time that you look at and you're like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to take your word that it works. You put an OEX brake pad in somebody's hand, and I just ask the question, why does this look so weird? And they're like, I bet it's to make it cool. They get it as soon as you put it in their hand.
So technicians holding your product and listening to your presentation, do you ever see the light bulbs go up? They raise their hand and says, boy, I've got a great idea for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Not only does that happen, every time I'm with a group of guys, I solicit ideas. I'm like, listen, a lot of the stuff that I've shared with you originated in a bay somewhere where the technician said, you know what, if you could do this, it would be really cool. And so the stuff that I get, I send up, to our engineering team and say, hey, could we do something like this? And there's things in the works, and there's some things that came out recently that originated in, hey, if you could do this, it would be helpful. Because at the end of the day, I think Federal Mogul's known in every line to be a problem solver, and not just solving a problem, but making an installation easier as well.
Federal Mogul Motor Parts' Garage Gurus is your go-to source for the vehicle training, technology, and answers you need to keep your next job on track. On-site, online, or on demand, the Gurus are here to help keep your business and your career on the road to success. Visit fmgarageguru.com. So you're out in the shops. What do you see? What are you observing? What's going on inside the shop? What are your biggest takeaways as you spend time in the shop?
You accumulate countless impressions over the years, these firsthand encounters and observations. This time around, I think I'd focus on body language.
Okay.
I think most automotive people can improve their communication skills. Communication is not easy. If it was, it's like sales. If sales were so easy, everyone would do them well. Mm-hmm. But in fact, you were in sales for years. You may agree, communication and sales, things of that ilk, relatively few people do them well. So, communication. You said, Dan, what sort of takeaways can I bring to the table after all these years in the shop?
Yeah.
And when I say communication and body language, to zero in a little further, I've watched countless technicians, service writers, service managers, and working owners interact with consumers. And in many instances, I'm just observing because I happen to be there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm interviewing them for a story and I'm waiting for them to finish with a customer, or maybe I'm wrenching away doing my homework and I just happen to overhear, or maybe I just go up front for a glass of ice water and I observe the interaction with the consumer.
Sure.
And in so many instances, Carm, very, very talented guys are struggling with a customer. And in my opinion, they're struggling for a very simple reason. They're not reading the customer's body language effectively. And from my observation, the customer is bored, frightened, indifferent, confused, and
find them exclusively on the show's episode.
The auto shop person, tech, sales, service writer, sales manager, service manager, owner. Mm-hmm. The automotive person needs to look closer and adjust his delivery and maybe ask a few questions, slow down, speed up, see if that changes their reaction. Or the most basic thing, sir, ma'am, you appear a little uncertain. Let me restate it another way. Or is it time to get a prop, a visual prop, or third-party evidence, such as the things the manufacturers give us, for example, timing belts and whatever.
It's the observable part of, the words aren't as important as what you're actually seeing happen. Facial expressions, eyes, posture in the body, being engaged. That's what you're saying.
Oh, indeed. Being engaged, indeed. In fact, Carm, one of the things that, for example, concerns me is when a consumer is not maintaining eye contact with you. Wow. Yeah. Time to begin again, time to ask some more questions, time to perhaps restate your premise, do something. But if they're not maintaining eye contact, my first instinct from my sales experience is they don't like me or they don't trust me.
It's almost like a timeout.
Exactly. Or how about if their arms are crossed?
Oh,
When
yeah.
their arms are crossed, holy Christmas, to me, when their arms are crossed, it reminds me of Catholic school when you did something wrong and the nun's glaring at you and her arms are crossed. That's
Yeah, that's
very
that's the closed feeling. That's I made up my mind. That is, you can't sway me any. So you see bored customers, you see angry, probably confused, fidgety, focused. How I mean, if you had if you were the consultant and you were sitting there doing, actually observing this behavior, you probably want to just jump out and say, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, let me help you."
Oh, you have to restrain yourself, of course.
All right, so you've got a great relationship with the customer that you're with. Did you ever just go to the owner and say, "Can I please share with you what I just saw"? Have you ever done that?
Ever so tactfully. Ever so tactfully.
Have you ever been kicked out?
Nearly.
Okay.
You have to. It's Carm. We're all human. We have our shortcomings, and what I observe with many automotive people, again, be it the technician, the service writer, the service manager, or a working owner, they have consciously or unconsciously, they've developed a routine. And when they communicate in a recurring form or routine.
Yeah.
And God bless them, they find it difficult to adjust that on the fly. Whereas, and believe me, I'm not saying I'm the best salesman in the world. Wow. But you having been in sales too, wouldn't you agree the only thing we're sure of is that the next prospect may be different?
Everybody's different. Everybody has a different need.
So you have to watch the body language as closely as possible. Try to see the aha moment, the raised eyebrows, perhaps the smile, perhaps just any physical indication, to use your phrase, that they're engaged, that they're listening, that they're, or perhaps listening closer, or perhaps they're believing what you're saying now.
Okay, so you're saying visual clues. I get that. That's a really big takeaway. Empathy. As the service writer has had to have been a customer of somebody's before. And they have, I don't care if you're buying a car, buying carpet, remodeling a house, you're sometimes a customer and you know how you feel. You know what you really want the salesperson to do for you. Do you see a lot of that empathy piece being brought into that relationship?
The better salespeople, or the people with better sales skills, one, hands down, they are the better communicators, and a reflection of their communication skills is establishing that empathy and trust.
Now that's the biggest word.
To me, empathy and trust go hand in hand. And you make a good point that, God bless them, so many automotive guys, Carm, they're entrenched in a shop. They've got their own issues every day. They've got difficult work. And very often, in my experience, they lose sight of empathy. You said, gee, most automotive guys, if not all, have been a customer of someone else at one time or another. Indeed. And they lose touch with the fact that this person's a customer, and as tough a day as I'm having, I'm asking them to drop several $1,000s on a project, a legitimate repair, and I need to close the sale, but I haven't engaged them. I haven't earned their trust. I haven't established the empathy. They lose sight of, several grand to us. You see that every day. But a prospect comes in who's uncomfortable with it. Man, as you say, they're all different. Let's pay more attention. Let's try and sense out what's that need. The third party endorsement, the repetitive explanation, a different explanation, different terms, graphics.
And you mentioned props just a little bit ago. And with the advent of all the great video that's available today, both on the big screens, big screen TVs, or on the tablets, do you see a more comfortable service advisor or owner engage with the customer by using these extra tools and props?
Oh, indeed.
Okay.
I think the technology today, with the availability of those very videos you mentioned, Carm, are terrific. From time to time, I've encountered service personnel in independent shops who've done their own little videos, or who, over the years, some of them had assembled little 3-ring binders of Polaroid photos. And via Polaroid photos, they turn the binder around as if they were at a family reunion showing photos. Well, Mr. Prospect, Mrs. Prospect, look, here's some photos we've collected over the years. The damage looks like this, looks like that.
Yeah.
So, if you don't do the maintenance or the repair we're recommending, holy cow, look at that. This is what your transmission could look like. This is how your suspension could look if you neglect the repair we're recommending.
I recently read an article from Bob Cooper from Elite Worldwide, and he talked about trust. And listen, I've known for years, when you thank people for their business, he goes on to say, isn't as important as I thank you for your trust. And that's one of the things you had mentioned earlier. Is trust the biggest factor in building that connection?
Indeed. I'd wholeheartedly agree that establishing trust, once in my experience observing the shops I respect the most and the people I respect the most, Carm, once they've established trust with a consumer, the odds, in my opinion, are extremely good that they've got a customer for life, and they're going to get referrals once they've established the trust. The challenge is achieving that goal the first time. And again, people are different. Some fellas are stymied when they can't make that initial bridge to the customer, get the initial sale, and go from there. And if you simply repeat your habitual routine, they're all different. Your habitual routine will appear and will convince some consumers, but not all.
You're a technical trainer, and here we're talking about, the service writer's skills, building trust, the observable language of body language. It's such an interesting discussion. I never thought we would ever go here with you. Have you ever had a chance to look at it as service advisor who's come back from service advisor training and seen a night and day change in them?
Oh, indeed. I would say very much so. And the fellas and the ladies who are heads up, Carm, who are very heads up and very candid, have taken me aside and said, wow, I didn't realize what I was doing wrong, or some of the things I was doing wrong. I didn't realize how much room for improvement there was until, and name any number of the great business trainers who are in the automotive aftermarket. They went to a service writer or service advisor class or classes and realized, wow, Dan, I hadn't been doing this well. I hadn't been doing that well. Right down to, Carm, maybe they weren't listening well. Maybe they weren't establishing enough eye contact. Maybe they weren't asking enough questions.
Got it. Hey, here it is. You're a veteran of our industry. You're a technical trainer. And I've got to ask you some really critical, important questions that I would typically ask a service professional entrepreneur. How many training hours do you believe a technician needs to have every year in order to stay current?
Right now, my best estimate, and mind you, it's an estimate, Carm, my best estimate would be 4 to 5 hours per month minimum, 4 to 5 hours per month. And I would consider training either attending a class or doing some sort of self-study, even if it's simply following troubleshooting charts, reading the manuals, reading technical literature such as the trade journals, or another part of training would simply be practice.
Got it.
The better shops I know, technicians are expected to spend 30 to 60 minutes per month practicing some sort of test, whether it's connecting the scanner and observing the data, perhaps connecting an oscilloscope and observing patterns. Those, to me, are all forms of the 4 to 5 hours per month, and that's my best estimate.
Got it. What's the percentage, Dan, of owners that pay for the training for their techs?
I would say my experience has been, Carm, that probably 80 to 90% of the technicians I see in class, their boss has paid for the class.
Got it. So you're out in the field, you're talking to techs and owners all the time. You're getting your hands dirty. What about the technician shortage that we seem to be talking about all the time? What's your take on that?
Carm, the image of the industry has improved dramatically. However, when I visit training schools, secondary, both high school and post-secondary trade schools, and talk to the personnel about recruiting students, overwhelmingly, they agree. I don't bring it up, Carm. They do. They make the point that, Dan, we're still building and rebuilding and growing the image of the automotive technician as a worthy, noble, and reliable trade. And I think back to, for example, I first walked into a repair shop 1967. Hard to believe, 1967, high school. And at that time in the later 60s, auto mechanic, it was not a highly regarded trade. The phrase denoted someone who, let's face it, couldn't read well, couldn't write well, and so the guidance counselor sent them to vocational school. They were there by default. Not that they were a logical thinker, not that they were dedicated, not that they had good tactile skills. The attitude was, darn it, there's nowhere else we can put this kid. Now, here we are, how many years later, and for many consumers, and consumers to me are the mom and dad who are looking, perhaps their kid will not go to college. That's fine. They're looking for a trade. Many consumers, their impression of auto repair still is not terribly positive. So we're seeing, in my opinion, when shop owners and shop managers, when they say, Carm, I'm having difficulty finding good help. The local schools are having difficulty finding good recruits. To me, this is the result of our industry trying to grow out of a negative image.
So how do we overcome that?
Carm, it's a stereotype. It's a stereotype. And to me, individual efforts overcome stereotypes. And one, we have industry associations promoting the trade. We have the schools trying to promote the trade. I would urge shop owners, and I always do, you make your individual effort to promote that you're conscientious, that you're professional, that you're dedicated, and you step out in a local market and you make your mark, whether it's hosting a career day or participating in a career day, or perhaps, let's say, the local mall or shopping center has a fall festival and the merchants have their stuff on display, and it's kind of, again, like a festival. Gee, have you ever considered setting up a booth?
Yeah, you got to be there, right?
Be there. Hi, Carm's Auto Repair. We're your neighbors. Come see us.
Yeah.
And put your best foot forward. You know, Carm, my pal in Monrovia, Seiko Nagata. Seiko's in business only several years now, but he told me how in the town of Monrovia, I believe it is, it's in the foothills there, northeast of Los Angeles, that periodically the town's merchants have a street fair. Literally thousands of people come through that street fair. And Seiko has sent me photographs of a booth he created, and he just hands out literature, asks questions. He says the exposure is remarkable.
Yeah.
And when I look at the photos, here's a well-groomed young man, well-attired. He doesn't look like a slob. He doesn't look like a grease monkey. Often he's got his cute little daughters with him. And there they are, just being neighbors, free exposure. And I think, what did Seiko spend on creating this booth? Almost nothing. But the response, he said, is very warm. Gee, it's nice to see who you are. It's nice to see someone we perceive as a professional. Now, Seiko's example is just one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah.
In many towns, there are those marketing opportunities. And in marketing yourself in that manner, you're combating or erasing the stereotype.
Yeah, it's pure guerrilla marketing that you're talking about. And have you ever suggested to a shop owner that he gets out to the school and speaks to the counselors? He speaks at career day at the school?
Yes. Not enough of them do it. And Carm, a thought for shop owners and managers. Your tax, most of the automotive programs out there, when you look into them, your tax dollars are feeding them. Your tax dollars are supporting them. Well, shoot, don't you want to see your tax dollars well spent? Go to the local schools, introduce yourself, and ask to get on the advisory committee.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, Carm, in my travels, trade schools, whether they're high school level or post-secondary, they love having professionals on their advisory committee. They welcome your input. Plus, if you expect results, participate. If you're unhappy with the results, don't complain to Dan, don't complain to Carm. Darn it, go to the schools within your market area, knock on a door, introduce yourself, and politely say, wow, I think you could do better. Let's talk.
Yeah. Excellent advice. Thank you. Wow. Where did this time go? It's amazing. Great advice. Good insight. Thanks, Dan. Dan Marinucci, Communique. Dan, you probably got to come back, and we got to finish this some other time. But can you give us some words, great words to live by?
Oh, try to keep smiling. Work can be difficult. The work is difficult. Worthwhile things don't come without work, except that whether we're strictly technical or in sales, if we're in auto repair, whether we're technical only or in sales, it's challenging. Thank God you're working. And appreciate. There aren't many people that can do what we do. So try to keep smiling. Try to keep a great perspective about it. You're in an elite club when you think about it.
Sure.
Yeah, keep smiling.
Got it. Hey, thanks. Will you come back?
Certainly, certainly.
Hey, Aftermarketers, thanks for joining us. Well, Dan sure is outspoken and passionate about improving our industry from every angle that he sees. For an in-depth experience, don't miss the show notes for this episode with Dan Marinucci. Now find them exclusively on the show's episodes page. The URL is remarkableresults.biz/E142, or on the website, just click on the episodes page. Any questions or comments, email me at carm@remarkableresults.biz, or don't forget, you could call and leave me a voicemail at 716-320-1567. Hey, you're an important reason I bring you these interviews, so you can profit from the answers found in each episode. So help spread the word for me via social, email, or by joining the Insider newsletter. Find the sign-up form at remarkableresults.biz/insider. And hey, and a rating and review in iTunes, hey, it's a big deal for me. Thanks for sharing the wisdom and helping to grow this very important industry resource. I'm grateful for your support. Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from another inspiring aftermarket professional. Until next time.